My name is Mia, and I want to share with you an experience that changed my life forever. It all began on a cold winter afternoon in December 2022. My life at that time was unremarkable. Every morning felt the same. Wake up, scroll endlessly, work half-heartedly, and sleep again. I spent most of my free time scrolling through social media, watching entertaining videos, and catching up on new posts. At that point, I often felt empty, as if I was trying to fill my time with meaningless distractions. That day, I was lying on the sofa as usual, scrolling through countless videos and social media posts. I clearly remember feeling small and inadequate as I looked at the perfect lives of others. Time seemed to pass unconsciously, and as night fell, I started feeling dizzy. I tried to put down my phone, but suddenly everything around me turned dark. My heart pounded, and I realized that I was entering an unusual state, as if my soul had left my body. A faint hum grew louder, and a warm, radiant light surrounded me. It felt like I was floating through time and space. A cold and weightless sensation spread through my entire being. I found myself standing in a space filled with light. The light was not blinding. It was soft, golden, and embraced me like a warm blanket. In front of me was a figure radiating majesty and indescribable love. "I am the one you seek," the figure said. I immediately recognized him as Jesus, the Savior. He looked at me with compassionate eyes and said, "You must see this to better understand the world you live in." Jesus led me through a strange space filled with giant screens emitting light everywhere. On those screens I saw familiar images, social media, video games, advertisements, and harmful content on the internet. What made me shudder was how these images endlessly repeated, as if engraving themselves into the mind. Technology was meant to be a useful tool, Jesus said. But now it has become a weapon. The adversary is using it to destroy the minds and souls of the younger generation. I saw strange symbols appearing on the screens, and even on the bodies of those trapped in this digital world. These symbols seemed to signify control, like invisible chains binding them to the virtual realm. The marks glowed faintly on their skin, pulsing with every action they took. Their eyes were devoid of life, their movements mechanical. Jesus explained, "These symbols are a form of a mark, designed to bind people to the system of evil. This is the mark of the beast. Once they accept it, they lose not only their physical freedom, but also their souls." The screens displayed not just entertainment, but also spread lies, fear, and hatred, creating a web that was impossible to escape. Jesus continued to lead me to a symbolic battlefield, where I saw adults and children standing on opposite sides, constantly arguing and unable to connect. Between them, the glowing screens stood like walls of separation. The eerie glow of the marks reminded me of the blue light from my phone that once consumed my nights. I saw families sitting in the same room but not speaking to each other, each absorbed in their own devices. In that moment, I saw a church, a place where people sought peace, but it was now dominated by technology. Instead of praying and focusing on God, they bowed their heads to their phones, scrolling through endless notifications and content. The church, once sacred, had become a strange, silent space filled with blue light from screens. Jesus looked at me and said, "Time is running out. You must return and warn everyone. You must remind them that technology is not everything, and that salvation cannot be found through a screen." I was shown a future vision, a world where technology completely controlled life. People lost in the virtual world were no longer aware of reality. I saw strange symbols on their bodies become permanent marks, glowing on their foreheads and hands. These individuals moved like soulless machines, controlled by the cold, blue light of technological devices. No one prayed or looked toward God anymore. Jesus added, "When people accept this mark, they forsake God and hand over the control of their souls to evil." When I woke up, I found myself back in my living room, with my phone still lying on the table. Everything had changed. I stared at my phone, no longer tempted by its allure. For the first time, it felt like a mere object, a tool, not a master. I was no longer bound by the virtual world. Instead, I knew what I had to do. I began sharing this story with the hope of helping others recognize the dangers of technology. The journey has not been easy. At first, many people did not believe me. They thought I was imagining things or mentally affected. But a few questioning glances reassured me that I had planted the first seeds. I spoke of love and genuine connection, about how faith could bring liberation to the soul. As I conclude my story, I am reminded of a verse from the Bible. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. Romans 12:2. Take a moment today to put down your devices, look into the eyes of those around you, and cherish the connections that truly matter. Thank you for listening to my journey. I hope it inspires you to reflect, reconnect, and rediscover what truly matters. May God bless you and guide you always.